Welcome to the mole. So atoms, ions, and molecules are way too small for us to actually see them, which means that a visible quantity of matter contains huge numbers of atoms, ions, or molecules. For example, a drop of water will contain approximately this number, 1.5 times 10 to the 21 water molecules. That's a huge number of water molecules. There's no possible way you could count all of those. Now, writing with numbers this large is cumbersome, and scientific notation can help us, but easier still is to just come up with a new unit that's similar to a dozen, which is called the mole. So 1 mole is 6.02 times 10 to the 23 objects, just like a dozen is 12 objects. The mole is similar to other units, it's just on a larger scale, that's all. So a dozen is 12 objects, a baker's dozen is 13 objects, a gross is 144 objects. Note that a gross 144 is a dozen dozens. A ream is 500 sheets of paper, and so on. So the number 6.02 times 10 to the 23 is called Avogadro's number, named after Emilio Avogadro. And just like we abbreviate meters as M, we can abbreviate moles or moles as MOL. It's not much of an abbreviation, but it's something. So when we're working with large numbers, we use scientific notation. And remember that 10 to the 23 means a 1 followed by 23 zeros, so this. And when we multiply a number times an exponential, the numbers multiply as normal in math, but the exponential doesn't change unless there's another exponential, or unless when we multiply the numbers together, the result is larger than 10 or smaller than 1. For example, half a mole is 1/2 times 6.02 times 10 to the 23. So we have 1/2 times 6.02, that's 3.01 times 10 to the 23. If we have 10 moles, then it's 10 times 6.02 times 10 to the 23. Well, that means that we really have 60.2 times 10 to the 23, which is 6.02 times 10 to the 24. If we have 0.20 moles, then we have 0.20 times 6.02 times 10 to the 23 of whatever objects we have, and that means we have 1.2 times 10 to the 23 objects. So note that it's poor practice in chemistry to write a number followed only by moles, as I wrote on the last slide. Good practice instead is to write what you have, that number of moles of after the moles. So if you have half a mole of rabbits, you should write 1/2 times 6.02 times 10 to the 23 rabbits equals 3.01 times 10 to the 23 rabbits. And 10 moles of copper is 6.02 times 10 to the 24 copper atoms. 0.20 moles of water molecules is 1.2 times 10 to the 23 water molecules. That was the mole.